Shut up, man. Dublin, shut up, man. Let her talk. Go on.
Right,
the
so
one saying I'm talking shit.
Dublin. Now you know what it is. He's Irish. He's Irish.
Just stop, Dublin. Just mute up, man. You can't control yourself. Mute up. Go on.
right, so for me, there's a bigger, more important message that needs to be put out. Right, that women shouldn't be just valued for what they look like, and that some people put too much value on that, and it's very shallow. That actually there's much more to people than just what they look like. That's the first message. The second message is that other women need to learn how to tolerate other women rather than just to join in with misogynistic males because of misogynistic. Yeah,
you know what, Jupes? I 100% agree with you, and obviously with that sentiment, you would agree that women should be allowed to wear burqas everywhere in the world, right? Yeah.
I don't have a problem with burqas. I have a problem
that was so
See?
So it's the face coverings I have a problem with that I've always had a problem with. Obviously, you've not realised.
Shani, she said it's the
covering of the face. The covering of the face is part of the burqa. It's part of the modesty.
Yeah, well, no, I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why I don't agree with it. Because I think that it's difficult to in the West, maybe in the rest of the world where they're used to it, but in the West where we've been brought up, understanding body language and that most of our communication come through facial expression.
Sorry. That was a proper good argument. It wasn't a good argument. It was a shit argument. But it was an argument that people were using in 2018, 17, 16. Well, I don't know if you've noticed yet. Our government,
everything's over the phone now. Like
no, not even that. Our government have just decreed that it's compulsory.
Yeah, I know.
So everyone that was campaigning,
slap in the face, all these
that,
EDL members and that wearing
everyone that was, and now they're wearing face masks,
and that, and
or they can't go Tesco.
I don't wear a face mask unless I'm actually asked to, and that will only be because it makes other.
But your president has to.
Yeah, but then hold on now. Are you not being oppressed?
Yeah, I would say I am. Yeah.
Okay, so then, rather than, I would say, people that choose to wear a face mask, that's their issue. If you force me to wear a face mask, that's my issue or our issue.
But it's not really been the only person that's really asked us to wear masks is the taxi driver, and because
this is the same in principle as the niqab and the burqa. You don't have to wear them. So anyone that's wearing it in the UK, we can presume that they've chosen to. And if they've chosen to, then what's the point of even having an issue with it? Oh, it stops communication. Well, we live in a society where 80% of the people are wearing masks. And if the government says,
but then they shouldn't be allowed to go into. Look, you wouldn't expect me to go in a classroom and teach like that.
But they do, though.
Yeah.
No, they don't. You wouldn't.
So that's what they're teaching now. They're teaching.
No, I promise you.
No. Look, there's a bigger conversation here. If you're just doing it to think and not have a conversation, there's no point.
No, I'm just saying, in the classroom, teachers are wearing masks.
Well, teachers are wearing masks in corridors. Hold on.
It's a different thing, right? They're doing that for health reasons, right? And because there are some children, there are some children, but when it comes to doing it on religious grounds, no, I don't agree with it. If you're talking about on health grounds, I don't agree with it.
But why?
That's like I agree with me walking into a classroom to teach children like this.
But they were doing it. What are you talking about? Not just children, adults.
Can I just quickly say something?
Yeah.
The difference is, if you walked into a classroom teaching the kids like this, first of all, it's inappropriate around children, 100%. How is a face covering inappropriate around children? This is sexualization of children. If you were going to the classroom like this, but if you covered up fully all her head to toe, then why would you have an issue with it? It doesn't make no sense. Makes no
Because
sense.
what you're doing is using fucking. They can't judge you on your fucking facial features. They can't judge you on your facial expression, rather, not features. Facial expression and your body language.
Okay,
So when you give your details
so-
over the
okay,
phone
cool.
for your bank and
No,
stuff, when
anything.
something happens
No.
to your bank account,
Why is it
do
cool?
can they see your face?
How's a face covering? How's a face covering alter your body language?
Because it is part of your body language.
So what about blind children? Are they like this the thing? So right, I'm sorry. I'm getting irate about this. I'm so sorry. Let me just take a breather. It's not even that deep.
Breathe.
Not that deep, right?
Yeah.
But you're talking about people, like children not being able to, like, children are learning. So this is the thing. What is more beautiful than teaching a child that people in the world are different and they choose to be different and we all come in different ways. We all decide. We have choices in our lives. So if you just strip that, then you make but wait a second. But then what you do is you make a child tolerant, and children should be tolerant the same way. Whereas if another child was in the class that was deaf, now would that deaf child or the blind child be allowed in that classroom according to your rules?
Well, they would be allowed in with special assistance, wouldn't they? They wouldn't be able to go to normal schools.
What's your name? Shani, you know what the funniest thing is?
Goes to normal schools. That's not true.
Sis, you know what the funniest thing is? We don't even have to cover up in front of kids.
They do go to normal schools. Blind
So I don't
children,
even know
deaf
what this
children.
argument is.
My primary school was full of blind, deaf children. It was actually a hearing impaired school. So it was
They do go to school.
deaf
Yeah.
children. There was
They usually go to blind schools. Shani.
I think you're lying a little bit.
I don't know about blind.
I'm sorry. Okay, first of all, Juniper. Okay, right.
As a Muslim, that is not a good fucking sign.
No. Listen to what I'm saying. So I had children. I went to a hearing impaired primary school. Okay, so in that school there was children with all sorts of disabilities, but the majority of them had an hearing impair. If you don't believe me, the primary school is called James Wolfe Primary School. It's in Greenwich.
Yeah, I know what school that is.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know what school
hearing
that is.
impaired. There's a hearing impaired school. So there you go.
Yeah, but that's not a blind school, is it?
What I'm telling you, Deepa, I said the children, there were blind kids, there were kids with all disabilities.
Those deaf kids, how do they learn how to fucking lip read if they've got a face covering?
Sign language. It's not about
sign language.
The children.
They're officially taught sign language. How are they going to communicate if they can't lip read?
I know sign language, and I learned sign language without lip reading. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but not everybody knows sign language. So how are they going to communicate if they can't lip read?
But I'm talking about the fact of the matter is there's children in this school. There was children in the school. There was children in the school with all sorts of disabilities. They had all sorts of disabilities, and they were
how
deaf.
many of the teachers had their face covered?
Oh my gosh.
How many of the teachers had their face covered?
That's not the point. That's not the point.
Wasn't Shani? There probably wasn't one, was
Shani,
there?
I don't know. Shani,
No, not in that time. But I don't see. That's what I'm saying.
My point, Shani. So you're talking from a nonsensical point of view. You're
It's
giving
not
an
nonsense.
example.
I said by your standards. I said, Jupiter, by your standards. The fact that you said that somebody that covers their face shouldn't be allowed to be in schools for religious reasons. You're saying they shouldn't be allowed. That's your point of view. But I'm saying, okay, based on your point of view, what about children that can't hear? What about children that can't see? Are they not allowed to go to these schools and actually be a part of the society? Because everyone's different. So the woman that covers her face could be one of those children's mothers. And the point is, we should teach the next generation to be tolerant of people.
No one said. Look,
that's what I've said, and that's what.
You're getting all wound up and you're conflating things. You're not having a conversation. You're having a panic attack. Fuck's sake.
Okay.
Calm down.
Shani.
No one said anything.
Cool.
No one can't go in the school. No one said a mother can't go in the school. You're making it look like we're saying that Muslims have got to stand outside the premises and not allowed in. No one said that.
No, I never said that either, Jupiter. So who's misconstruing what's being said?
Really?
I said some of those children's mothers would wear a face mask, okay?
Right.
Being that they wear a niqab.
Right.
So
yeah.
Isn't it best that we teach our children to be tolerant and that we let them see things that they have in their households as well? Be their religion, for instance. Why is that?
That kid's mama in once a week to talk about her religion just so she feels included.
You're a silly old cow, because that's just stupid. That's got nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Why is it?
Just put your tits
away. You
want
tolerance, don't you?
When I'm looking at the screen, I just thank God that my mum was a decent woman. No, so that's the I know that I love my mum, you know, and all the mums out there that were decent. Like I love them, man, from the heart. Yeah.
What are you saying? So what are you saying? If you got a video like this on YouTube, you're not a decent mum?
Nah, I'm saying that I'm so glad my mum was a decent mum. I'm not business about what she had to. She's a mad woman. She's crazy. I'm just so glad my mum's decent, and big up all the decent mums. You know, the ones that can keep their clothes on.
I said it. I mean, where's Freddie when you need him?
Right. So.
But all right, let's have a conversation, bro.
So if you want to put your children, if you want to put your children into a school where
when you're ready, okay?
Yeah, carry on, Jupiter.
Go on, someone was talking.
No, you was
if you want to put your child into a school where face coverings are permitted, that's up to you. If I want to have a choice of being able to put my child into a school where face coverings are not permitted, that's also up to me. I am not a Muslim. I don't have to adhere to Muslim policies. And I don't want my child losing the skill of being able to read body language because someone wants to cover their face.
So your child's going to learn everything they need to know in life, both from that one teacher. You need to be parenting then, right?
It's more important for children to be able to read body language and facial expression. Okay.
Unfortunately, though, even though you have,
and it is to fucking worry about someone's feelings.
Even though you got that perspective, that way of seeing things. Society is changing, right? And we're living in a rapidly changing time where we are being asked and required by our government to cover our faces.
I agree. And I think
as you can observe, whether you do it or not, that's different. But in school, teachers are advised to cover their faces.
I agree with that, and I think it's wrong.
So kind of like, wait. So that reality that you're afraid of, where your child would be going to school and their teacher will have their face covered, it's happening now with no religion, only the religion of scientism. So,
it's not, because my kids go to school and not all the teachers have their face covered.
That's what I said.
Not all the children cover their faces either.
And not all women cover their faces.
Right, and majority of the teachers will be covering their faces. Majority.
Yeah. But they're doing it for health reasons. And
it doesn't matter why they're doing it. Your brain. Hold on, wait. You don't just lose the ability to read facial expressions and body language based on the fact of whether it's a religious or health. If you're not seeing faces, you're not seeing faces. What's your brain ain't gonna decipher between.
And can I just add on that point as well? Andrew Clapham, an expert on school inspections at the Nottingham Trent University School of Education, has said there is no credible evidence base to suggest that wearing a piece of cloth on one's head has an impact on intellectual academic ability. Penalizing an institution because of a piece of clothing raises a whole range of questions which appear beyond the remit of school inspectorate. If Ofsted is to pursue this initiative, then empirical evidence should be analysed prior to making such a policy decision.
Right.
So therefore, there's no evidence.
Hold on. It's on the top of your head.
There's no evidence.
You're talking about a head covering. Why are you
That's the
bringing
face
that
covering. They're talking about the whole debate was about the face covering and Ofsted. Certain Ofsted inspectors putting schools down, independent schools at that, for women who were wearing face veils to teach, right? And there's other institutions and experts who are saying there's no empirical evidence that shows it impacts intellect or academic ability. So before we push that, we need some evidence to push that claim.
Right, so you're saying that body language is not shown in facial
No, it's not,
expression?
because there are many countries who observe the face veil, and academically they do better than England.
Okay, show me one.
What do you mean, show me one?
Their
Go and get
countries.
Their
show me a
country's
country
face. Across the
Yeah.
Middle East,
where the general
across the
education
Middle East,
level
bro,
is
there's
higher.
countries, there are independent schools that teach, and they
Yeah,
do better
can
than
you
you.
show me one of those countries, please?
Oh, for fuck's sake! Now I have to go and do
You
research.
just said across the Middle East.
Yeah, you can't make a claim and then not back it
I know
up.
that in Egypt, when I lived in Egypt, we did better than you
Yeah,
guys
that's this,
academically.
mate. Can you go and get me the statistics?
Oh, for fuck's sake! All right, hold on then.
I
I'd
bet
also
the
like to just,
average IQ of Egypt is not as high as the West.
Egypt's a
Say
very,
that again,
Egypt's
Jude.
very highly
Yeah,
educated.
but I bet the average IQ is not as high as the West.
IQ.
But most people that
That's
go
a-
to school, majority of them will go into
You're the one bringing in
engineering.
intolerance and
or-
saying it doesn't have an effect. How do you know it's not down to the face covering?
Oh my god!
And I would say go as far as this, actually. A lot of children that in Islamic countries that are female don't even get a proper education because
I'm
they don't
saying
believe.
an expert in your country is saying there's no empirical evidence.
Yeah, but in Muslim countries, most of them don't even
Forget
educate
it.
the
We don't
women
even
do
need to go
that.
that far. I'm saying an expert in England, an
Yeah, but we do
educational
need to go that
expert.
far because it's the
Hold
beginning
on.
of women
An
being oppressed.
educational expert is
I'm
saying
sorry, I
there's
don't
no
agree in
empirical
oppressing
evidence.
women.
What evidence
I
are
don't
you
agree in
using to make
oppressing
your
women.
claim? What
What
evidence are
claim?
you using to make the claim that not seeing someone's facial expressions affects a person academically?
The fact that if you go to any body language expert, they will tell you
But
that
I've given you
communication,
an expert who's saying the level opposite of
communication
what
is
you're saying. An
99,
educational
90
expert.
something percent of the communication that we have without the spoken word, and most of that is in the facial expressions. That's why we draw pictures with smiley faces, unhappy faces.
No, that's not why. No, that's not why. The reason is
It is. If you can't see
No,
your
it's
mouth,
not.
how do you know if you're
no,
smiling,
it's not.
whether you're grimacing, or
No,
whether
it's
you're
not.
actually being a bitch behind that fucking face? Yeah. You see, this is part
I
of the
don't
problem.
understand how you've
This is
put.
There's
part
no
of the
evidence. I'm
problem.
telling you, an education
Hold
expert
on,
is saying
hold
there's no
on. I've got
evidence.
to tell you
She's
something
taking
else.
evidence out of
This
thin
is
air.
why trolls get away
No.
with what they get away with because their
Huh?
faces can't be seen.
What did you say? What did you say?
If it was such a perfect place, we wouldn't have trolling.
Hold on. What did you say? Say that again.
Facial ID. If it wasn't seen, we wouldn't have trolls, would we? If it was so perfect, then online would be perfect, but it's not.
People
You're a
troll
whole
with
troll
their
yourself,
face,
and
though.
we've seen your face.
On
Let's
an
do it.
anonymity, and
People
covering
troll
up
with
your
their
face covers up your ID. That's what it does.
So when you have issues with your bank and you call them, can they see your face?
Sorry, Sarah, let me ask a question.
You're having issues with the bank.
Covering up your
It's having
face covers
issues
up
in
your
all
ID. Why
women.
do you have to
They ask-
identify
They
yourself
ask
and
you
who
for
to?
numbers. So.
Why does any person have to identify themselves, and who do they have to identify themselves to?
I just think it's quite bizarre that you've got this limit on. You want everyone to be free and you to be free to get your tits out on the internet and whatnot, but then you've got this limit on what other women can wear. When you just had a big statement about the fact that women should support other women and we should be like, and you're not happy with the face veil. And you've got all these reasons why. But it's okay if you're wearing a mask for a health reason because of NHS or because the government, said that you had to. That's okay. But if you're doing it for religious reasons, no. So then what's the issue here? It's the religion. It's not the veil itself.
Yeah, 100%.
The issue is with the religion.